What's happening, people? Back with another reaction, back with some more Human League as we continue through Hysteria, 1984. Thank you as always to Mr. Solo. And the next track in the playlist is Life on Your Own. So, at first glance, it sounds like the type of phrase you might use after a relationship, and thus someone who formerly had a partner, was in a romance, but now has to figure life out on their own again, though it is worded in the second person, meaning it sounds like someone talking to a former lover. I suppose it could be a broader statement about your own life trajectory or humans on their life trajectories, where after an initial period where they are raised under parents or perhaps guardians, they then have to set out on their own emotionally, physically, in terms of residence, but also occupationally or in terms of what they will do with their lives. But if I had to bet, I would consider the former hypothesis more likely. Of course, it might not have anything to do with either of those ideas, so I'll just try to catch what I can. This is the Human League. The track is Life on Your Own, and it's from the 1984 album Hysteria. Sounds like a clock. like it. It doesn't strike me as the kind of tune that would be as big of a hit as Don't You Want Me, but I feel like a lot of the same ingredient types are here, and I think it works. I think it's a really enjoyable tune. So sonically, I like the layered keyboard lines. Like, it begins with this sort of electric organ type of chord, and then there's a more like chime-like keyboard melody that comes on top of that. Eventually we get that layer that I commented on just a moment ago, which is my favorite melodic line in the tune, which almost has this like, what's the right way to say it, like electric tuning fork sound. Like, it sounds like there's a humming resonance to it, but it also sounds a bit struck, almost like a xylophone line. So yeah, I enjoy the different keyboard lines in the track. I enjoy the way the verses are a bit more stripped down and they have that, wood tapping type of rhythm to the percussion, and then the verses are a bit bigger sonically, so I like that alternation. And in that regard, it brings me to the lyrics, which, okay, it does sound very much like a relationship that ran its course. It ended in part because the narrator in the verses, more on that in a moment, is nomadic. Like, he just can't stay in a given relationship or situation for long. He feels the need to keep setting out for life on his own because that's more peaceful. So I guess the tranquility of not having ups and downs, highs and lows, good times and bad, is really where he feels most comfortable, even if it sounds like there is a melancholy to that, there is a loneliness to that. So he's essentially saying in the verses, like, oh, I just kind of moved here. How did you even know I was here? And look, it's great that you came by. I'm glad we had a chance to talk. And, for a moment when we just took a walk right now, I did actually kind of forget some of the issues I'm dealing with. But he doesn't sound like he wants to jump back into the relationship. He sounds like he wants to say, thanks for coming by. I'll always hold you in my heart. I'll always be true to what we had together. But I am going to set out on my own again. I just need life on my own. But then it sounds like the chorus is like a response to him. It sounds, even though I think it's still Oakey's voice with the women in the chorus, it sounds like it's the other side of it, that like, oh, I guess you always wanted life on your own. I guess, when we got together, you weren't thinking that we'd be together forever, that this would, be something that would last and be enduring. I guess it was something where, you seek out these connections, but very quickly get cold feet, or at the least, you enjoy them to the degree you can, and then you're out the door and you want to just put it behind you. It sounds like, moving to this new place only a week ago, he was trying to become unreachable. He was trying to just, put a complete end to that chapter of his life, and then somehow the other person found him. So maybe I'm wrong, but again, it sounds like the perspective of the verses and the perspective of the chorus are actually the two sides of the story. But yes, the essence of it seems to be that this emotionally and interpersonally nomadic individual makes connections, got into a relationship, there was some significance to it, but now it's in the past, and he's really trying to just, look in the forward windshield, not in the rearview mirror, even though this other person managed to catch up with him. And it sounds like he's being polite. It sounds like he's, not trying to denigrate or just, dismiss them out of hand. But again, it doesn't sound like he's going to come back around and say, you know what, why don't we give it another try? So I like the sonics, I like the vocals, nothing wrong there, nothing exceptional, but just in a good place. And I enjoy the lyrics as I caught them, though again, I might be missing some crucial detail. In any case, a really cool tune. Again, it may not stand out as much as some of their tracks where it's like, oh damn, like that was probably a hit, or, in the case of Don't You Want Me, I knew going into this deep dive that was a big hit, but it still sounds like it's very much in their wheelhouse, functioning in a way where all the ingredients are enjoyable and the tune overall is compelling. So I liked it. Let me know what you think. I will see you next time. Peace.